Hello, we're the PNC Newsgirls. Mia.
And Maya, reading the news 6 days a week because you're too lazy.
Canada Day, July 15th, 2023.
Okay. The chatter about the peaceful conquest of this world by commercial means is probably the most completely nonsensical stuff ever raised to the dignity of a guiding principle in the policy of the state. Guiding. This nonsense became even more foolish when Britain was pointed out as a typical example to prove how the thing could be done.
Alright, we go RFK Jr. says COVID was ethnically targeted to spare Jews. Kennedy floated the idea during a question and answer portion of a rancuous booze and booze and fart-filled dinner at Tony's di Napoli on East 63rd Street. COVID-19, there is an argument that it is ethnically targeted. COVID-19 attacks certain races disproportionately. Kennedy said, COVID-19 is targeted to attack Caucasians and black people. The people who are most immune are Ashkenazi Jews and Chinese.
Okay. Swedish police authorize burning of Bible Torah outside Israel embassy.
Israeli.
It doesn't matter.
It does.
What's Torah?
I'm not sure.
Israeli officials called on the Swedish government to stop the protest, which is scheduled to take place on Saturday outside the diplomatic mission. Sweden recently faced strong criticism from Muslim countries for allowing protesters to burn the Quran at small anti-Islam demonstrations. The man who filed the request for Saturday's protest said he wanted to burn the Torah and the Bible outside the Israel embassy in response to a Quran burning outside a Stockholm mosque last month by an Iraq. Why is there an I? Am I supposed to say Iraqi? Immigrant? Okay then. So basically they're all burning each other's Bibles.
Got it. Tim Ballard shares how Mel Gibson helped him save children in Ukraine from sex trafficking rings, exposes Ukrainian pedophile Harvest Time network. Shortly after his wife Catherine, but with a K. I feel like it's not right.
No, Catherine can be okay. I've seen a lot of Catherines with Ks.
Okay. Urged him to go to Ukraine. Mel Gibson gave Ballard a call and said he had intel that there are kids in the war zone in Ukraine that need rescuing. After both his wife and Mel Gibson led him to go to Ukraine, Ballard, alongside the organization Era Recovery, was able to get over 6,000 women and children to safety, and later Ballard was able to expose a pedophile group that was trafficking children from Ukraine to Mexico. Ballard also hinted the entire operation was documented by Tony Robbins.
Okay. Alexandria? That's the best I got. Ocasio-Cortez joins list of progressives to skip Israel's president's speech. While the number of Congress members who have announced their plans to skip Herzog's speech is far lower than the 58 who sat out of Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu's address to Congress in 2015, a handful of other progressive lawmakers critical of Israel, including Reps Andrew Carson of Indiana and Mark Hawken of Wisconsin, have yet to make up their minds.
Alright, on to the poll column. Why a single senator is blocking U.S. military promotions and what it means for the Pentagon. Washington AP, Alabama Senator Tommy Tuberville is wagging an unprecedented campaign to try to change an unprecedented campaign to try to change Pentagon abortion policy by holding up hundreds of military nominations and promotions, forcing less experienced leaders into top jobs, and raising concerns at the Pentagon about military readiness. Senators in both parties, including Republican leader Mitch McConnell, have pushed back on Tuberville's blockade, but Tuberville is dug in. He says he won't drop the holds unless majority Democrats allow a vote on the policy.
AI doom-monger Elon Musk officially unveils new artificial intelligence. Billionaire says XAI will help solve the universe's biggest mysteries. from the dark matter and dark energy to the Fermi paradox and aliens. Okay, people will be offended, Musk said. Our AI can give answers that they might find controversial even though they might be true. But beyond the AI culture wars, Musk expressed ambitious hopes to produce an AGI, I don't know what that means, with deep analytical reasoning capable of solving higher order math and science problems, including many that have eluded mankind's best thinkers. The millionaire suggested that XAI could answer questions about the nature of dark matter and dark energy, theorized but difficult to confirm components of the known universe, which I don't know how you say that.
What?
Astrophysicists?
Okay.
Astrophysicists, I think. I'm just trying to saying the word.
Yeah, astrophysicists.
Estimate constitute 95% of the cosmos.
Alright.
I still want to know what AGI means.
Alright, Supreme Court unveils the first cases it will hear next term. The Supreme Court released its oral argument schedule for October on Friday, which features the first six cases it will hear for its 2023-2024 term. The court will hear a major constitutional challenge to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's
CFPB
funding mechanism, an Americans with Disabilities Act tester lawsuit against a hotel, and a racial gerrymandering case from South Carolina. Oral arguments are set to begin on October 2nd.
Okay. Watch. Joe Biden nibbles toddler's shoulder on final day of European trip. But why? President Joe Biden was caught on video getting unusually close to a young toddler on Thursday at the end of his 5-day European trip. In the video, which surfaced on social media on Friday, showed Biden leaning into a young girl, nibbling and pretending to gobble the toddler up as she was held in her mother's arms. The mother, who observed Biden's behavior, smiled as she took her phone out to capture the interaction.
Okay. Watch. Mike Pence squirms as Carlson dismantles neocon talking points on Ukraine. Tucker Carlson utterly dismantled the neocon talking points of Trump's former Vice President Mike Pence during an onstage interview before a large audience of the Family Leadership Summit in Iowa on Friday.
Why is every single word family capital except the I?
I have absolutely
that bothers
no idea. Rather than respond to Carlson's criticisms about why tens of billions of taxpayer dollars are being spent on faraway Ukraine, which Carlson note is a country most people can't find on a map, rather than focusing on protecting and restoring American cities in decline. A visibly irritated Pence instead vaguely said he could do both. Watch Pence squirm below as the crowd loudly cheered Carlson's question. I mean, you're not wrong. I don't think I could find Ukraine on a map.
Yeah,
if I'm being
no,
honest here.
I don't think I could. Unless it was marked, then I could find it. Like if all the little things had their names, I would be able to find it.
Obviously.
But otherwise, nah.
Yeah.
I have no idea where it is.
I could probably get at least close. Maybe.
I probably couldn't.
Well, I know it's bordering Russia, so that's a start.
Yeah.
Anyways, monkey column.
Nigeria. Suspended central bank governor charged after weeks in detention. Shortly after he took office in June, new President Bola Tinubu directed MFL suspension, saying the move was related to the investigation of his office as the central bank governor and planned reforms in the financial sector. Emefiele was then taken into custody and has been detained since, prompting him to sue the secret police recently on the grounds of illegal detention and a breach of his human rights. While ruling on his application earlier Thursday, a high court in Abuja directed that the former central bank governor either be charged within 1 week or be released.
UK government gets go-ahead to appeal against Rwanda deportation decision at Supreme Court. Under the government's proposed illegal migration bill, anyone who arrives in the UK illegally will be banned from claiming asylum and will be deported to their home country or a safe third country like Rwanda, and will also be banned from re-entry. But in a majority decision last month, judges at the Court of Appeal overturned an earlier High Court ruling and ruled that the policy is unlawful. The government sought to appeal the decision at the Supreme Court, and the Court of Appeal gave it the go-ahead on Thursday.
I must say, this cat absolutely looks like he said, "Yep, sure,
Yep. Sure.
sure." Kamala Harris' latest gaffe?
Gaff.
I've never heard that word in my life. Gaffe? What is a gaffe? Sparked wild conspiracy theories as she claims the Biden administration wants to reduce population instead of pollution. Oh, Hunger Games? We would invest in clean energy and electric vehicles and reduce population. More of our children can breathe clean air and drink clean water, Harris said during a speech in Baltimore on combating climate change. The White House official transcript of the remarks corrected the obvious error, crossing out the word population and adding pollution in brackets to indicate what Harris intended to say. The gaffe, I'm assuming that's just another word for speech,
Yeah.
quickly drew mockery from conservatives on Twitter, especially after a clip of the event was posted by the Republican National Committee's at RNC research account, which has been quick to pounce on Harris' slip-ups. Hunger Games?
France, diverse vibrants, actively targeting off-duty cops and their families. Frankly, it's hard to have much sympathy for the cops. They are the people who force this diversity on the population in the first place. I won't even mention the COVID thing. That said, the fact that the cops are the target shows that this kind of military operation, rather than simply mindless violence and looting.
Okay. War crime column. India, UAE agreed to trade settlement in local currencies, linking fast payment systems. India and the UAE on Saturday agreed to start trade settlement in their currencies and link the Indian Unified Payments interface with Gulf countries' instant payment platform (IPP). As Prime Minister Narendra Modi held comprehensive talk with UAE President Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Al Nahyan here. That's too long. That's too long for a name. You should not be having more than 4. And you want to know how this man has? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 6 names.
Okay. Colombian children who survived 40 days in jungle leave hospital. The siblings will remain under the care of the Child Welfare Institute because of a complex family situation.
Looks like
Kyrgyz said, and final custody arrangements for them will be decided in 6 months. We're entering a transitional phase for the protection of the children,
Carcius
added. I don't care anymore. Both the father of the youngest 2 children and their mother's family have told the media they want custody.
Yeah. Mexico president continues attacks on opposition despite order. Lopez Obrador, who was barred from running again after the end of his 6-year term, spent weeks using his morning press briefings to criticize Galvez, who hasn't been nominated yet, but has been gaining momentum as an opposition party candidate. The Complaints Commission of the National Electoral Institute ruled late on Thursday that Lopez Obrador's remarks apparently violated the principles of equity and neutrality and parity. I don't know. I'm bad at big words. It ordered the president to avoid commentating on electoral matters.
Alright, final one. Myanmar junta likely to extend military rule again. Myanmar's junta leader indicated that military rule will be extended again after the current state of emergency expires at the end of this month, telling the cabinet on Thursday that much remains to be done to restore stability and rule of law across the union.
Okay.
Alright, thank you for listening to Mia.
And Maya, read the Pull News Center homepage. Do all the good things.
And come back Monday for more segregated news.